Hello everyone, it is Michael here with a very interesting, very special reading. Uh, I don't know how many of you know this, I don't know if I've discussed this on the channel, but I do in fact have a political science degree. So I'm going to use that to incorporate into this reading. This reading is specifically on the presidency of the current president, Donald J. Trump. Like him or hate him, he is a very important figure in the political sphere right now and on the global stage. Not to mention him representing a catalyst in the ongoing spiritual revolution that is sweeping this world. Alright, platitudes aside, let's get right into the reading. It is a variation on the Celtic cross. Obviously, you won't be able to see it, but I've laid the cards out and I'll explain to you the category of each card and what it means, obviously. Alright, for the present situation, we focused on the presidency of Donald Trump in relation to the country, and then we receive the Wheel of Fortune. Alright, this is a change in tact. This is a change not necessarily in policy, but in politics. If you've noticed over the past few weeks, Trump has changed his tone quite a bit on a number of issues, particularly when it comes to issues such as Ukraine, going harder on Russia, for example. That is one of the biggest that I've seen in the news media, although there are others. A little bit of backtracking as poll numbers began to sink about a month, 2 months ago after Liberation Day. So you're seeing a change in tact because there's a lot of energy that needs to be cycled out from the president's perspective in order to get an upper hand. And then in the secondary position, we have a advantage or a disadvantage in the energy for the president. And we got the Page of Swords. And in this case, this is advantage because he's caught with of his faltering approval of his the backlash that he is receiving, but not only in the media but in different circles, particularly in right-wing circles, on issues such as Israel-Palestine, for example. You're seeing more open hostility towards Netanyahu, for example. Policy-wise, it's basically the same, but from a positioning posture standpoint, it is quite different, and it sends a quite different signal around the world. Okay, moving on to the third position. This is from the unconscious mind of Trump. What is coming up that is driving his interests, is driving his policy, is driving his posturing? We have the Ace of Cups, followed up by the Four of Pentacles. In this case, these two cards together represents an obsession with money, an obsession with finances. In this case, it's probably more so an obsession with the tariff policy, trade deals, some lingering fear about the economy, especially considering that it's been Trump's historical strong point. There is a deep drive towards that that's coming up from the unconscious mind. And you will see that more and more as time progresses, especially as trade deals become finalized or rejected. Alright. The fourth position is the immediate past leading up into the present. What's caused this change in tact? Okay, we have one card, and it is the Sun. And this is simply the illumination that Trump is currently receiving backlash. And a lot of backlash, and not just backlash from his historical opponents in the media on the left, but also among the libertarian right, a lot of the alt-right, even some of the establishment figures. You're seeing that in some instances, hence the change in tactic on something like Ukraine. And you can also see that in the ongoing war in the administration between the more MAGA wing, the more quote-unquote populist wing, and the more old school boys of the George W. Bush Republican Party, the wannabe Reaganites. Okay. Now, in the fourth position, there are two different sets of cards. The first set is Crowning Thoughts. It was Crowning Thoughts for both, but the first one is Trump's Crowning Thoughts in relation to the domestic front, and the second is his Crowning Thoughts towards the foreign front. Crowning Thoughts are basically what is on the conscious mind, what is coming down, what is in focus, what is in view, what is to be accomplished. Okay, on the domestic front, you have the World, and you have the Two of Cups. Okay, in a political sense, this is throwing carrots to the public. This is in response to the faltering approval ratings and some of the unpopular positions, particularly around immigration and the way it's being carried out. And with the visa issue and with the green card issue, Trump is going to start throwing out what is tantamount to a goodie basket for the public. You've seen that recently with the attempt at the prescription drug executive order. It's an attempt to ratchet down pressure and keep heat off the administration and to distract from the more undesirable aspects that are currently in the spotlight, as told by the Sun in the immediate past. Alright, now let's move on to the foreign part of the Crowning Thoughts. You have the Three of Pentacles, followed up by the Nine of Pentacles. This is trade up and down. This is a desire to get trade policy enacted, trade deals finalized, because Trump knows that if he doesn't get this done in a certain amount of time, it is going to be politically costly and economically costly, which doesn't bode well for the Republican Party in the upcoming midterm next year. So Trump is very much obsessed with these trade deals, getting them done, collaboration, and what he sees as the luxurious benefit from that, both for himself and for the country at large. Alright, now we have the immediate future. Alright, again, we have two different subsets of cards. One is for Trump himself and the presidency all around, and the second is for the nation itself. Alright, we have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, and we have the Five of Pentacles upright. Alright. For the president, this could be a variety of things. Like I've said, failed trade deals that result in some type of economic downturn, reestablishment of tariffs that cause stock market crash, poor jobs numbers. It could be a whole host of things, and it could also be the general malaise in the country. Because Ten of Pentacles in reverse, that's the denial of inheritance, the denial of legacy. And Five of Pentacles obviously is poverty. This obviously does not bode well for his political capital. But again, this is in the immediate future, so expect this over the next few weeks, since this does go out about a month or two, reading wise. Um, Alright, let's move on now to the country itself. We have the Eight of Wands, and we have the Fool. This showcases rapidly changing public opinion, either towards or against Trump, depending on how he navigates the next few weeks, especially with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse and the Five of Pentacles. It could easily signify the public wishing to move on from this phase of the presidency, or from the presidency overall. You could see a tank in the approval rating, a tank in the GOP's approval rating. You could see polling that comes out that shows Republicans behind in prospective races, both in the off year this year and in 26. It could be a whole host of things, but it's going to be coming in very, very quickly, and it's very, very chaotic. But the public is, the country is at large is looking for change. It's looking for a new start. It's tired of the malaise, as Jimmy Carter will call it. Alrighty, let's move on to the staff portion of the reading. Well, first, we'll get to the fears. Alright, and there are 4 cards with this that stack on top of each other. Fears for the administration. What does Trump fear right now? First card, 8 of Cups. Second card, 6 of Swords. The Hierophant, or the High Priest. And the 6 of Wands. Alright, Trump's biggest fear right now is the public becoming disillusioned and moving on from him, becoming disinterested in what he has to say, what he has to do, and gradually rejecting his changes to authority. Recognizing that the carrots that he's throwing out are just that, carrots, not anything substantial. What he's promised, by and large, aside from the peripheral social justice issues, or anti-social justice issues in this case, on the key areas of substance, such as ending the Ukraine war, for example, bringing down inflation, things with immigration, mass deportation, for example. He's afraid that people will see through the failures on that end. And again, that would be very politically costly. Alright, now we're moving on to the environmental factors, and this one is a big one. This is an interesting one as well. I have 4 different sections to the environmental factors and how it's shaping the presidency. The first we're going to get to is Congress, actually. The first card of the 2 for this is the 9 of Wands. And the second card right now is the 2 of Swords. Alright. Congress is basically putting in somewhat of a roadblock to what Trump wants to do. The bureaucratic mess that is Congress has slowed down his agenda quite a bit, although a lot of his agenda is on the executive. We also get to the judicial in a sec. But, a lot of indecision in the Congress. It seems to be sapping away his political power, his political capital, and making him look weak, causing the public to become indecisive about him. Alrighty. Next. Alrighty. Oh, I'm sorry. I do need to backtrack on the fear part. It was not the 8 of Cups. It was the 8 of Swords, which is mental anguish. So that's, instead of disillusionment, he's afraid that the country will be anguished by him. Small correction on that, just for the sake of posterity. Alright. Now, let us move on to the judiciary. This is where the Eight of Cups comes in. Eight of Cups, followed up by Ten of Swords. Self-explanatory. The court is making the public disillusioned with Trump's agenda and what he sees as a betrayal and blocking his agenda. All the court orders, the stays, the striking down of the tariffs recently, of the green card deportations, the birthright citizenship case in front of the Supreme Court right now, and a whole host of other issues. To him, it feels like a betrayal, and it is deeply costing him political power. Deeply costing him political power, and again, causing the public to become disillusioned. The court speaks in very powerful language in this instance. Alright. Now let's move on to the media portion of this. You have the Hanged Man and the Five of Wands. This is basically stagnant energy. This is the media's normal energy towards Trump. Trying to keep him in a box, trying to obsess over everything he says. The egoic conflicts, the petty conflicts with the Five of Wands. Just overall not very productive in countering what he's doing, more so inflaming the public, preventing any real change, preventing any real backlash, not allowing outsiders to rise to the occasion, either within the Republican Party or the Democratic Party or from outside. This also points to a stagnating media, stagnating mainstream media. Yeah, guys, they don't have much longer left. Their shelf life is very, very limited. I give it another few years after Trump leaves office. They'll probably end up dying out altogether. But don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. Alright, for the final part, the environmental factors, we're going to do to those closest to him, his family, friends, advisors, those on his side, supporters and such. First, you have the Ten of Wands, followed by Death. In some aspects, this is viewed as a shared burden. The weight, political pressure that's coming down on Trump. He personally sees it as a shared burden with those around him, those closest to him. But in the same sense, this could also represent a tightening of the circle around him, especially with supporters and those closest to him. Their transformation in that arena as well. But I'll get to that as we move into the final outcome for the next month or two, because there's something interesting that ties into that, especially with the Death card. Alright, now we'll move on to the next part, which is the hope for the administration, the vision for the administration. Alright, we have 3 cards for this. We have the Ace of Pentacles. We have the Magician. And we have the Queen of Wands. Alright, this is Trump's vision up and down. Financial stability, financial security, abundance, trade deals, America's number one economy, number one exporter, number one altogether. America's number one. Magician, this is Trump saying it himself. This is also a bit of his energy. The master craftsman behind this grand American vision of abundance and prosperity from his perspective. And that perspective ends up with the Queen of Wands. And this is more so how he sees his America. I'm getting image of the goddess America, or the goddess Themis, this rich, young, vibrant nation, full of prosperity, law and order, the shining city on a hill, to borrow something from Reagan. But yeah, that is what his vision is. Very similar to what he says, or what he wants to see. Alright, so now let's get into the final portion of the reading, and we'll do the final outcome. And there are 3 parts to this. There's for Trump himself. There is for the country itself, and for the world at large. Okay? Alright. For Trump himself, first off, you have the Empress. The Empress. Followed by the 7 of Swords. Followed by the 10 of Cups. Alright, given the 10 of Swords and the media position and the Death card, I'm definitely seeing a split with a female personality. I'm getting 2 in particular that it could be. It could be a divergence from his wife, either publicly or privately, that then becomes public. Or it could be an advisor being deceitful, an advisor leaving, or an ex-advisor coming out with something. I feel like this is either Melania, obviously, or I'm getting Caroline Leavitt. Although it could be others in the administration, maybe Susie Wiles, or maybe Tulsi Gabbard, but I'm not so sure. Probably not Kristi Noem, but that remains to be seen. Somebody will be leaving the administration, and from Trump's perspective, causing a lot of turmoil to his happy ending, as he sees it. Alright, let's move on into the United States. Final outcome. Alright. We have the 3 of Cups. We have the Lovers. And we have the Knight of Wands. For the country and the public at large. The country and the public at large are going to begin to look for other options politically, societally, culturally. The old way is basically falling through. Trump will be seen as not all that he was cracked up to be, especially by those who fervently support him, for various reasons. And I'll leave that to you to define that. But it could be a split, and there's going to obviously be a lot of turbulent, hot-headed energy, a lot of entrenchment on both sides. Although there could be some unlikely alliances forming politically as a result of all the turmoil that's currently going on with the administration. So that'll be interesting to see. And finally, we have the World. We have Justice. And we have the 6 of Pentacles. Alright, so this represents the removal of tariffs, the striking of trade deals, or the backing down in certain instances by the United States in regards to tariffs and trade deals. This is also an improvement in the global economy, albeit barely. There's going to be some balance restored to it. It's not going to be as crazy, especially in the stock market. Prices could start to go down, although with 6 of Pentacles, it's always a give and receive. So the broader effects on the economy may remain to be seen with that. But there is a sense of justice coming in. the United States might be knocked down a peg economically. I know we were recently with a recent credit downgrade, and it could come in the form of something like BRICS as well, or something out of China, or with any of the numerous ongoing wars. A conflict with Iran, for example, would cripple the oil market. But what exactly that is remains to be seen. But that pretty much wraps it up for the tarot portion. I can, in fact, pull a oracle card, so we might get some guidance going on about what everyone needs to know about what's going on. And I'll use the Soul Journey Oracle deck so we can get an idea, and I'll get 3 cards off of that. Alright, what do we need to know about Trump and his administration in relation to the nation and the world at large? Imagination. Alright, we have 3 cards. We have Imagination. I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. This card speaks of the many energies that are currently being manifested and thrown around in the political arena. Both from Trump, from his opponents, from the media, from the public supporters, fundraisers, the donors. There's a lot of wild and crazy energy that's coming up that we'll be privy to in the coming days and weeks. The second big card for the oracle we have drawn is Fear. I realize that I am testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. So that's basically all the chaos energy we got going on right now. There's a lot of fear surrounding within the administration itself from within, but also from without. Fear on the right that things aren't going as planned, and fear on the left that things are going way too far. However, there's also another energy from the third oracle card with honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. So this speaks to mass awakening and seeing through lies, both in the political arena, not just from Trump, but from all politicians, because they all lie. The media, Congress, the courts, what have you. And this is being honest with ourselves about what we want in leaders, if we even need leaders. But I'll let the anarchists and the libertarians debate that one. But all in all, Trump is facing a pretty tough time right now. He's facing a lot of headwinds, many of which are by his own creation. The environmental influences around him certainly aren't helping, and there could be a few pitfalls in the coming weeks, particularly with the economy and with the wife or an advisor or a cabinet member, female obviously, with the Empress. But at the same time, there could be an economic upturn. There could be a series of trade deals that are established. Some economic stability could come in, and some of what Trump's vision is could come to fruition. That remains to be seen now. This is, like I said, over the next month to 2 months. And it is 5:31 in the morning. I mean, it's 5:31, 2025, May 31st. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. So going into the summertime, we'll really begin to see all of this take shape. Alright, if you guys have any questions about this, or any political questions, or spiritual questions, or any questions in general, feel free to ask. Like I said, I do have a political science degree, so I do have quite a bit of knowledge in this subject area. So I hope this video gave you guys some insight into the inner workings of the president at the moment, inner workings of the Congress, judiciary, media, public, and those that support the president and even oppose him. We are in monumentous times. Whether, again, if you support or oppose Trump, he's going to play a very important role in the development of the new world, either through chaos or through initiative. But that's all depends on perspective, I guess. But again, I hope this video gave you guys some guidance, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one, guys.